Okay, we're adding the finishing touches of red onto the flower, putting some accents. And you know, making it match the other one. Like I said, there's many layers, and so in the beginning it's a very light touch. It maps out where you've been and where you're going, but it's also how you figure out where to put your drama or the minute color accents later. Have to be careful with red and purple because they can bring life to a subject with color and vibrancy, but they can take over a whole project. I'm using melon to kind of soften some of the red I just added. It came on a little harsh, so I'm just softening it out. Like I said before, I don't use anything for smearing the color or the wax around, except for a lighter color. That's what I use for blending. I don't use blending sticks or pads or cotton or I think I've seen cotton tip swabs, erasers, just all kinds of things, and really you're putting too much wax down in the beginning. We have plenty of time to add wax and color at the end, and if you have caked up so much wax that additional color won't even add, you're the problem. And an eraser or a blending stick or whatever is not the solution. That's a temporary fix for you really messed up. But if you're doing it all the time, you're messing up all the time. So the idea is just be gentle and relaxed and add it later when you can have a bigger picture. You can see all the other flowers there. You can see how they are saturated, and you can see how saturated the flower that you're working on is, all at the same time. So just be patient, wait on your accents and your highlights, lowlights. Excuse me. I've seen some people use white markers, white sticks, and white color pencil for highlights, and in them it looks like too much placement, planned. It doesn't look natural. It looks mechanical. And you don't want your drawings or your colorings to be, I mean, they're already mechanical. You're using a mechanical pencil, you're using a mechanical pen, or some people do, and you don't want to get that going. I mean, maybe it looks okay with people that do graphic design, and I had in my classes, 2 to 3 to 4 graphic design, because they have to take all the design classes and color classes too, because that's their main weapon. They don't, some draw very well. It's geometric or graphic in a way, but it's still really good. It's really popular, and they were very loud in class because they clank around in their toolbox all the time for markers. They're big on markers and pens and all kinds of gadgets and effects, and they pull every trick you got. And you're in design class to learn tricks. The trick is to draw the eye and to keep the person captivated, hypnotized, motivated to keep looking at whatever it is that you've drawn. So graphic artists are in the commercial avenues, like making boxes of laundry detergent and stuff like that. That's what they design. All those colors and the lettering and everything, that's graphic artists. And they are illustrators like me, that particularly go for the design classes. And I mean, it's required. I was working on a fine arts degree, and it was required for that too. But I was going to go into medical illustration, and medical illustrators design drug pamphlets, like you see advertisement for Pepsid and all that different stuff. And they get into it. Okay, I was already started the leaf. Sorry, I was distracted by explaining things that probably don't need to be explained. But I'm using blue, green, and then a color that looks like water, or that's what I call it. But I put in my shadow areas first, which is going to be the blue, and it's going to be a light, as usual, light coverage, and then take the blue up all the veins, because the veins are going to be used for texture. You need to have some blue on there to bring those out, and you'll use them later, but you're marking, you're mapping, and using your blue. When I'm marking the veins, I'm using a little bit heavier touch. You can see my fingers bending, that I'm pushing a little bit harder on the veins and down the middle stem, because that's going to get hit pretty hard with the green and everything, and you kind of want it to stay blue, because you want that really low. You want to push that down in a for your effect, to give the leaf the dimension. Now, just continuing on around, and I did add the blue around the edge, or near the edge, just like I did the flowers with the red. This is going to be blue. Do the ridge again because I want the edges of the leaf to appear to bend. And of course that'll be blended in and covered up, and you won't actually see it, but you know it's there. It does the optical illusion that you want. And you know, a piece of paper is two-dimensional. It's flat, and you want what you draw, what you color, to appear to be three-dimensional, which is in this dimension where there's volume, height, width, mass, matter. You want it to appear to not be a flat piece of paper. That's why you put all this effort in, is to make a piece of paper come alive. And it's sad, but paper is very important to me. I use 96 pound pressed paper, and it's particular for ink and color pencil. You can do watercolor pencil on it too. I haven't, but I have watercolor pencils, and in art school I did watercolor paintings, or that was the painting that I did, because I don't like oil and I don't like acrylic. I don't like oil because it smells bad, and everything that is in it is poisonous, bad for your health, toxic chemicals. And acrylics, they just dry too fast. I mean, you have to work so fast, and most of the people that work in acrylics are so abstract. I mean, they do a painting with a knife. They don't even use brushes. They just scrape paint on and scrape it off and get all these different effects. And you know, that's art. You know, not and it's pretty. It's very pretty. But that's not the way my mind works, or my hands work, or my coordination. Now back to the drawing. Going over everything with green lightly, because we're just putting in the base. The base is the most important, though. Just because you put it in lightly is not to minimize its importance. It is the foundation of your work, and it gives the effect that you can actually see through. You can see the layers underneath, and the benefit of creating other colors is just priceless. Foundation is very, very important with coloring and layering. But carrying on with the green. And now I've got the water blue. It's a blue color that crayon makes that I totally love, and it's the color of water to me. It's a very light, clear blue, and you can add it to things, and it almost makes things opalescent. It makes things reflective in a way, just by the color. It doesn't have any glitter or anything in it. It's just magical. And sorry I'm coughing. My allergies are absolutely horrible today. I think maybe it's going to rain. We have flies and gnats really bad all of a sudden, and we let the dogs and cats outside, and so sometimes flies get in the house. But this is unbelievable. So the weather's fixing to change. Maybe it's fixing to get cold and they're coming in. That could be it. But I'm working both sides of the light reflection with the water. You can see it's very light, and it blends just really good with the blue. Gives such a pretty curve. Okay, we're back to let's see, this is I think I had to go get something. Be right back. Or else this is when the camera froze up on me. I can't remember. Anyway, you can see that it's a lot lighter coloring and shading compared to the flowers, but that will change. Fixing to go to the next section. And I do voice over because I'm watching TV. Plus, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed with two cats that are 16 years old. They're sisters, and they get in bad moods and they fight, and then they don't remember that they've made up, and then they start another fight, usually over nothing. Or they've been asleep, had a bad dream, wake up and blame it on the other sister. So we have some probably aging, symptoms of aging here. I'm not one to talk because I'm 63, and I'm probably got my own issues too. And so anyway, going back over the leaf with green and put in darker areas. Now I'm going to do the shading with the purple. Plus I have a 10, he might be 11 years old. I think he was 11 in September. Chihuahua. Yeah. So, and they're all sitting on the bed with me. Everybody wants to cuddle. But they want to cuddle, but they don't want to share. So, figure that one out. Anyway, So he's 11 years old, and if you touch him and he's asleep, he'll scream bloody murder. So there is some yelling, barking, meowing, hissing, fighting. Sometimes I have to stop drawing just to move people around, animal people. Oh, I'm adding the shadow to the bottom of the petal. You can see that that separates the petal from the leaf. And it's a very simple thing to do. This might be having to stop to break up the fights. You know, I don't realize it until I filmed it that I'm not able to pay complete attention to what I'm doing because I'm too busy. Anyway, so I do voice over all the time because there's way too much stuff going on around here. Sorry, I'm coughing. And I'm adding the purple shadowing under the petals, and you can see an immediate change where the petals lift up off of the leaf. Oh, ran into the camera. That's typical. And here, adding purple to the outside edges. Some shadowing there to add dimension and texture. You may be getting the recording of the Chihuahua scratching himself and huffing and puffing. That's what he does. He huffs and puffs if someone's close to him, just to make sure nobody sits on him. The older cats mistaken him for pillows and blankets and have sat on him many times, so he's pretty sick of that. Anyway, adding the purple to the veins, and that helps the blue that you've added come out just a little bit more too. You can see that the leaf is getting more and more texture, more and more depth. And these are just simple things. It's not really a trick. It's just a way to get an effect. Coming back with the watercolor, I mean not watercolor, but the pencil that looks like water to me, and narrowing some of the highlights, making them smaller or not as glaring. Sometimes you need to calm them down a little bit too. And calming all those highlights down a little bit. You don't need to be also lined up. Dim the lights a little bit on them. And then that's about it. Thank you.